It's Derekh Chamblee. It's Saturday afternoon, early evening, winding up on 10 minutes after 5. January 21st, 2017. Derekh Chamblee, CyberCitizen Network. Day number 2 for our new president, Donald Trump. And you're looking at an image that came off of a BBC story today, live from Washington, D.C., a women's march, a protest in many respects. And, if you can see this, Lady Liberty grabs back. And we're going to roll a short clip here of...
Her outfit's very striking. Hello there, you're live on the BBC's Facebook page. What's your name? My name's Jennifer Evans. Well, let's just step back. There you go. Stay there. And show everyone. Someone gave me the Oh, okay. So you didn't even have it. It's been a wonderful group of people.
Okay. And so we've got quite a march going on. Protests. BBC is running stories about protests around the world, all the way to places like Australia. And we mentioned before about the arrests on January 7th of this year already of 7 leaders of Food Not Bombs in downtown, a park in downtown Tampa, serving food to the poor and the homeless. Arrested, or their arrest ordered by Mayor Bob Buckhorn of Tampa. And just last week, the first cases went to the new state attorney in Hillsborough County, and the charges were dropped. And the Tampa City Council is going to be meeting to find some way to allow this particular group, Food Not Bombs, to serve food to the homeless and have their signs and their particular, promote their particular political views in Gaslight Park across from the police station in downtown Tampa. And also the state attorney dropped charges. And however, the cases that will come up of the other of the 7 that have been arrested, the state attorney said that provided they work out some sort of arrangement or deal with, and that means that the Tampa City Council and the mayor will want them to change locations, and that's not acceptable to the leadership of Food Not Bombs. But this is the same park, Gaslight Park, that Black Lives Matter, Tampa Justice, Occupy, other groups joining in with them with signs and protests. The same park, supported also by legal foundations, the ACLU, the NAACP. We talked about that before. But Mayor Bob Buckhorn has crafted this diabolical plan to crush dissent, along with the Police Chief Eric Ward, Tampa Police Chief Eric Ward, and the Tampa Police Department Criminal Intelligence Bureau, which is working in tandem with Homeland Security and the Central Command out of MACDILL Air Force Base in Tampa to engage in illegal domestic spying. And this is also a breaking story out of Reuters about Trump meeting with officials from the CIA, saying that he's backing them. In a particular article coming out of Reuters news service, he's backing them, and it mentioned in the article, even though he said that their tactics were something out of Nazi Germany. And this is the model I mentioned before. This is the model of domestic spying that Mayor Bob Buckhorn out of Tampa, in connection with the Homeland Security and the Chief of Police, utilizing the particular cyber security types of tools and urban, really quasi-military equipment to suppress protests. And so as we've got protesters in Washington today, on the second day of the new president's term, it'll be interesting to see how long he can put up with these ongoing protests in Washington. And there were several articles that compared the inaugural, his inaugural being very divisive, the country being very divided, to two other presidents' inaugurals, that being Abraham Lincoln, that by the time that Abraham Lincoln reached Washington, and by the way, had to sneak into Washington because of 7 states had already seceded from the Union, and he had to sneak into Washington basically for his own safety. And then the other president's inaugural was the January 1973 inaugural of former President Richard Nixon. And they noted at that time that this was just after the time that Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger had said peace is at hand in Vietnam. So it wasn't so much an anti-war protest at that time. At that time, former President Richard Nixon was in the throes of Watergate, and it would spiral out of control. And so he took his oath again with his hand on the Bible, January 1973. So help me God, that he would uphold the Constitution. But scarcely a year and a half later, of course, he resigned the presidency. So it was a divided inaugural day in 1973. It was a divided inaugural day in 1861 when Abraham Lincoln took the oath of office. And we mentioned before the interesting thing about our new president, Donald Trump, putting his hand on the same Bible that former President Barack Obama and former President Abraham Lincoln used in their inaugural. And we're going to look at the tapes of the inaugural yesterday and see if President Trump kissed the Bible. Well, anyway, that's a tradition as well as putting your hand on the Bible. And once again, we're going to see how long it takes for him to utilize this model that's been developed out of Central Command Homeland Security, Central Command over all the wars in the Middle East, in Tampa, Florida, utilized by Mayor Bob Buckhorn against various protest groups and dissent groups. How long it's going to take this president-elect to use the intelligence community, along with the big city mayors and their police chiefs and police departments, to engage in illegal domestic spying. As we mentioned before, this particular is in his 2016 presidential campaign, and as president-elect. But in particular, Donald Trump in his campaign, President Trump said that protesters should be put on trial for their words. They should be for their words. And so we're going to see if he's going to uphold the Constitution, so help him God. Keep his word, even though, as I mentioned before, U.S. Senator out of Florida that was running as a Republican candidate for president called, during the 2016 campaign, called Donald Trump a pathological liar. So we're going to see how long it takes him to adopt this model in the cities, to crush dissent, or if he's going to allow for our First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press. This is Derekh, Chamblee, Cyber Citizen Network. A beautiful day, Chamblee, Atlanta. The next great American city, Battleground Zero, the epicenter of the civil defense of the United States of America, the civil rights movement, and also the 5th Congressional District of John Lewis, a famous civil rights hero. And, of course, this week we also celebrated on the 19th of January the birthday of a great American general, Robert E. Lee, here in the 5th Congressional District, Chamblee, Atlanta, Battleground Zero, the epicenter of the soul of America. Derekh, Chamblee, beautiful, beautiful day here. Well, actually it rained all morning, but it's clearing up now. Atlanta, Georgia, my. Running up on 5:30, it's Saturday, day 2 of our new president's term.